This is the missing link between the MG of yesteryear and the modern day MG using fully electrified powertrains. It's called the Cyberster. We've seen hints and rumours and teasers of the Cyberster for a couple of years now, but it's finally here. And this particular one, this lovely yellow one, is in Ireland right now. It's the first one here, and it previews the model coming this summer, if the rumours again are correct. As you can see, it's still a two-seat electric sports car. It's convertible. There's no coupe at this stage. Hopefully there will be someday. And it's perhaps a little bit bigger than those famous MGs of yesteryear. However, this is now a range topper. This is no longer a mass market, cheap and cheerful roadster. This is something that is going to be a halo model for MG to extend the range, if you like. Let's have a look inside. Obviously, we can't go any further without talking about those doors. They flip up, they're electric, and actually they have little sensors on them to make sure they don't hit a low garage roof or if somebody gets in the way. It really adds a bit of drama, a touch of theatre to getting in and out of the car, and perhaps justifies its position at the top of the MG range. On that score, the interior, this is my first time sitting in, and I have to say the interior also lives up to that. It's a very, very high quality in here. Some very nice material, some suede effect here, for instance, and almost leatherette here on the seats. And it is spacious too. I mean, obviously, this is not a family car, it's not a practical car, but for two-seat sports cars, there's plenty of room in here. This particular model is a Chinese market car, so all the interfaces here and everything have some Chinese script, and my Mandarin isn't really all that good, so I'll try not to decipher any of that. But what will be the same here is this wraparound dashboard where you have digital instrumentation in front of you, a touch screen to the side, and more information here on the left. I guess when it's over on that side of the car, it'll be mirrored. And I guess so will this center console, because it's got a big grab handle here for the passenger. It's very, very modern anyway. That's the first thing that strikes me. And there's quite a bit of storage space too. There's a bit of storage space behind me here in the seats. There's more room up here in the front. And really, for a two-seat car, it doesn't feel tiny. I did have a quick look in the boot as well. You probably won't get any big suitcases on the way to the airport, but for a weekend away or a few days away for two of you, no problem at all. Looking at the screens in here, actually, it's showing a range at the moment of 463 kilometers on a 93% battery. Now, as I said, this is a Chinese market model, and European figures, facts and figures, have yet to be officially released. However, we do know that the car gets a 77 kilowatt hour battery, which is roughly the same as a Volkswagen ID4 gets, for instance. And this is, even though it's a two-seat sports car, it's not a featherweight. It's not far off that weight, in fact, so don't expect like huge range. Saying that, it is a two-seat sports car, and nobody buys a two-seat sports car expecting to drive all day without having to charge it up. So if this car achieves over 400 kilometers, which we think it will easily, that's good news. What we do know is that there will be two different versions, one with a single electric motor on the back and another with two electric motors, so one on the front, one on the back for four-wheel drive. The single motor model is 340 horsepower, and that's pretty meaty, so it should feel nippy, especially with the instant torque low down, etc. We expect a 0 to 100 kilometers an hour time, sub 5 seconds perhaps, which should be nippy, should be really nice to drive. The full-on one, the four-wheel drive dual motor model, gets over 500 horsepower. So that's a bit more serious. And the 0 to 100 kilometers an hour time of that should be around 3 seconds, we think. So it's going to be a fast car for sure. We can't tell you anything about Irish pricing. Not because we don't want to, because we don't actually know. A while back, MG UK mentioned a figure of around 50,000 to 60,000 pounds sterling. And we really hope the MG Ireland can bring it in at less than 70,000 euro? Really hope so. I mean, that's a guess for sure. It is a new offering for the brand. MG up to now has been all about value. Its cars are great value. What you get a lot for your money. This is a different offering. It sits at the top of the range, and it's expected to expand MG's remit, if you like. Anyway, it's worth looking at a few more of the details before we leave you to it. The interior, as I said, is very, very high quality. The center console here, it's not too wide actually, but it's got a bit of storage in it. It's got these flat cup holders that go down when you have cups in them themselves. In front of that, you have three prominent switches here. One's for the roof, which I'll show you in a minute. It goes up and down about 10, 11 seconds. The other two operate the doors, so you can operate them from here and obviously from the outside, and also from the key actually, which is really interesting, really useful. Touchscreen here is really responsive. It's quite neat and small. It's a little upright one, but it's quite responsive to touch. I can't understand all of the writing, as I said a minute ago, but you can see some of the bits and pieces. There are some climate control features on there, but I'm really happy to see that you have this bar up here, a touch sensitive bar for the climate control, where you can alter the temperature, the fan speed, the demisting, etc., without having to use this touchscreen down here. On top of all that, something I spotted a minute ago with this really nice steering wheel are these paddles. Now, one of them operates the amount of brake energy regeneration, which we're used to, but this other one is a mode button, or a mode switch rather. So you can choose sport, custom, and then the default comfort one. And it shows up a fancy graphic here in the middle as well. Something else I noticed down here, this big super sport button, and that perhaps gives us a hint at the performance or the characteristics of the car, where as well as the sport mode here, I'm guessing you can go into a far sporty mode again. So let me show you that. It's quite a dramatic noise it makes too. and you suddenly get this race car view. It's almost like a video game, really. And there's a huge amount of adjustment there, a huge amount of information here. Even though it's in Chinese, I can see we have temperatures, we have tire pressures, and then it looks like a lap timer over here as well. The last thing I want to show you is the roof going up and down. It is Ireland after all. You probably unfortunately will have the roof up a lot. So with your foot on the brake, you just literally pull up this switch I showed you. It's a fabric roof. It's quite neat, Z-frame. Very quick, very easy. That roof goes up and down up to 30 kilometers an hour, incidentally. So typical Irish weather, if you're ambling along, rain starts coming, or you pull away from the traffic lights and you started putting the roof up, you can continue up to 30 kilometers an hour. The back view is actually one of my favorite. You've got these arrow effect lights here, which are really distinctive. They came from the Cyberster concept car, and it's been carried through to production, which I'm very glad to see. It's a highly distinctive looking car. And actually, first impressions are that it's going to be a desirable car. I know the market in Ireland for convertibles is small, but if it's priced right, it could make for a brilliant halo model for the MG brand. Anyway, that's our first look. If you want to know more, go along to our website. It's completecar.ie. It's a great resource for checking out your next new car.